friends working in DNA repair field, whenever we meet, all we talk about is new things about DNA repair. And that's it. That's it. So when you learn something and you start to looking into the Google and then what's going on there, and then that excites you, that's what you like. Then you become experts in that sections. So that's the best thing. So I decided to study DNA repair when I was in college. About time to go to the third grade. And at the time, I learned DNA repair for the first time in my sophomore day in cell biology class with my former advisor in Korea. And he introduced this concept of DNA repair. Before that, I had no idea how the DNA, I thought that DNA is just always DNA. But wow, that's exciting. It can be damaging and then it can be repaired and even it can link to the cancer. So I start to study. So I start to think, and even at the time, there was no web internet. So what I did is I went to the library and started to read it. And what is a DNA repair? What is it? And since then, I just keep going. So that's how you choose your questions.
Because basing also on your story, for me, I first heard about DNA like from my biology class in high school. But during that time, mostly I was just studying mainly to pass the exam, so I did not have a lot of interest. But then, because as I told you also, I like watching a lot of movies. I got interested into watching Korean movies early. Then there was this one movie, like it is a series called like The Blacklist. In one of the series, they were talking about how a certain, like some university students were manipulating human DNA and how some doctors were making people disappear. Not totally, the people were still there, but they could change like the old DNA. So I had like a lot of questions, like the movie is called, like the series is called Blacklist.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
So after today, I still have this question, like, how is it possible, like, to alter a human being totally by just changing the DNA?
At this moment, you cannot do it. So current technology is that you cannot change me so that's something new. However, if your germ cell, like your sperm, if you change that, your next generation could be changed. So therefore, current all these disease treatment cases, any symptom you have, and let's say that symptom coming from the genetic differences compared to you and me, then you take those stem cells that can cause your symptom, take the stem cell out, and then modify, and then kill all the stem cell, remaining stem cell, and put your stem cell back in, and make that stem cell become your stem cell. Then you can kind of masking those symptoms. So that's about the technology we have at this moment.
And then also adding on movies, because I don't know, like, it's weird that like most of the things I experience or like I also learned about in reality today, like I first saw some of them in movies. There was one actually I watched last week. It was based on a Korean original series called The Good Doctor.
Good Doctor.
Yes, yeah, it was like originally in Korea. Then like one of the American companies like bought the right and like they produced like American version. In one of the episodes, like a certain man like injected himself like with some DNA samples or other things. I don't know much, to be honest, but like it is related to what you were teaching us in class yesterday.
Mhm.
And his main aim was like he wanted to extend his life.
Uh-huh.
So with DNA engineering and every kind of thing, do you think like those things are possible?
So again, to extend your life, you need to manipulate your stem cell. But stem cell is not in just one location. So it's all over your body. So one possibility is that if scientists found the important protein that can make your stem cell rejuvenate, and then find that information and put them into the certain delivery vehicle that can only go into your stem cell, then possible. But there are so many if. So we don't know any genetic information for the rejuvenation of a stem cell. So that should be discovered. And then we don't have any delivery vehicle that only go to the stem cell. And then again, every single delivery vehicle at this moment we are using, efficiency is less than virus. And virus is about 10-20% efficiency. So therefore, in theory, it's possible, but there are too many hurdles to overcome. So, but that's how the science goes, right? So all this science fiction, I really like reading science fiction. So the Jurassic Park, when it first came out as a novel, I just so excited to read it. And then, like I told you in the class, right? All this that dire wolf is generally extinction is now de-extinct. So now it's coming. It's really happening. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but science now reaching to that point in long time ago, and so it's impossible. So I believe that in certain points, maybe but the biological science was like developing is like this. But I show you in the one special lecture how fast it's moving now. So right after this sequencing technology, everything become really fast. So all those are questions that we never could understand is now done. So for example, this nice paper that I published like about 30 years ago. At this moment, if I do this, at the time it took me more than a year to finish up. But if I do it right now, probably in less than a couple of months, it'll be done. So that fast. Everything is so fast now. And I even cannot expect what's going to happen. So when you are doing science, it'll be amazing fast.
About reading science fiction books and also like science movies, science series. Do you think they have a lot of impact on real science?
They do. So it depends. Okay. Some of the scientific, like a series or scientific movie, when the script was made, so that's very important. So the reason that I like Mike Crichton, who wrote the Jurassic Park, is that to make this novel, he basically talked with so many scientists. So that's the reason in this novel, he described all this genetic manipulation very precisely. So that's unbelievably accurate. And however, some science-related one, the authors, they just describe it with the public knowledge. Then maybe not, right? So, but it all depends on the writer. So some writer really invest a long time to make that script. So in such case, that really helps. Because even when I read this trust prompt at the first time, oh my God, this is really good. So he even described how the filling the gap of the missing information from I forgot, some frog DNA and all those things. And then they actually manipulate making the only female by putting it. And then eventually life finds a way and then they generate the male. The reason is that this frog DNA, indeed, actually, the amphibians, actually, they can change the sexes depending on those environmental factor. And that's true. And he knew all those information and then put them into his script. It's unbelievably accurate.
That is so exciting because, like me, also being like a fan of science fiction books and science movies, I really like I could spend like 1 hour per day reading about science fiction or watching a science fiction movies. And maybe are there particular science fiction books or like science movies related to your field that you would recommend to anyone to watch?
Sure.
Because I know genetics is a bit complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And someone may not be having access to the laboratory, or someone may not be having access to Nature Journal to buy the papers.
Mm-hmm.
So you would just recommend your favorite movies or books for someone who is not into hardcore science to go and watch or read just for motivation.
I don't know. Yeah, there are, I think, well, in a movie, the Jurassic Park would be the good one. So all those are series, at least in the old version. And secondly, there's this movie called Kataka. So that's actually warning of all this genetic manipulation. So I watched it. It's not fun, but it really has a message in it. And then especially DNA repair, there are not much movies related to DNA repair, but there was one particular movie. I didn't watch it actually, but it's about some girl who cannot go out during daytime, and she is a patient because called geroderma pigmentosum, and she cannot repair UV-induced DNA damage. So I don't remember the name of the movie, but one of my colleagues actually watched it, and he told me that it's quite interesting, well made actually, to describing her symptoms. And so her parents basically make her not going out during daytime because she's a patient. And then, so it's like a daytime something. I just forgot.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciation from our research, and sometimes I visited some of the research center, and they made all those contributing things, and maybe I can show some of these, and these are some of awards that I received, and then plus, and there are some of the papers that I published. So this is basically what I published and not our center published. I can show you a little later what center published later in the middle of the center. And then maybe you are a little curious about all these wine bottles
Yes.
on top.
Yeah.
And those are whenever we have one nice publication by researcher in the center, I bought the wine, and then all the authors actually share it with one bottle. So that's more likely all of those publications that we have done so far here and over there. So So that's what it is. So
Then maybe what inspired you into buying wines?
because I love wine. So in the class, I told you that my favorite organism is a yeast. So I have studied the yeast. However, yeast is the one